Thank you, Mamuna. Okay, so let's start with our presentation. So today's topic is a little bit, you can say, towards the new challenge of the market. It's not new, but the challenge which is we have seen in the past that people are talking about, and many companies are not able to fully grip on it. So the topic is that how we can move from the normal visibility towards accountability, or our audits and everything are up to mark, and customer are able to see that actual results, or the organization can see actual results in terms of cybersecurity instead of just the visibility reports or the dashboard. So we will start with little bit the current scenario, that what is going on. So where we are as of now. So if let's say today we have seen in the past that there is good security means that we are connecting the IT, and we know that there are some requirements which are from the regulatory, and we know that there are attacks which are happening on the OT networks. So this all is our realities which is happening on the ground. So for facing, or the company who is facing it, they know that it's not only that we need to protect ourselves or to provide the regulatory requirements, it's also for us, it is very important that our cybersecurity maturity is fully up to mark. There was one era when everyone was asking that visibility is very important. Dashboard, asset inventory, alerts, SOC, all those kind of things we heard. Industry was trying to grab the cybersecurity tools. There were some companies who are not even having the antivirus or any intrusion detection systems or any firewall, or if the firewall is installed, the firewall was connected in such a way that all traffic is allowed from here to there and vice versa. So now at least we have seen in the companies that we can see it, that what is the asset inventory, what are the network maps, vulnerability, all those kind of things we can see. We cannot always prove it, that is it 100% aligned as of now. For example, if any auditor or any person comes in and they want to see that what is actually happening, not only the screenshot, they can come and they can see and they can tell that okay, what is happening on the ground. But actually, for example, 1 month back, what was happening over there, that was missing in this trap. The gap which we have seen in the last recent years is that we can see the things, but all those things are cleared at the time of audit. When the time of audit comes, everyone is scrambling around and trying to patch all the things, and the main activity which is related to cybersecurity, which says that you have to keep your cybersecurity maturity up to mark throughout the year, every time, that is not seen in the past. So visibility clearly says us that what exists, but what is missing, who did, when, and why, that is missing. Usually auditors are asking who owned this asset, what was done about it if something happened, can you show me the evidence. So actually the answers to all of these are that owners assigned, decisions are recorded, evidences are available, closed or under review, or if there are any exceptions, they are recorded. So all these are the actual requirements. So in one slide, we can see that now we can see the asset inventory, but the main thing is that we need to keep all the evidences and everything available for us. What accountability actually looks like. Beyond we monitor it, the ability to answer, prove it is more important. Traceability, ownership, evidence, and probability is more important. We can trace back that what happened, when happened, who did, do we have the evidences, and how we can prove it. That is more important. If let's say we want to see accountability in action, that risks are identified or vulnerabilities are detected, owners are assigned, properly named owner are assigned, then decisions are recorded, that what patch will be installed, are we accepting it, or we, if let's say there is an exception, we are also documented those exceptions in the system. And then we can set the review date for the next review, or then we can close any pre activity which we already discussed that okay we will do after let's say 1 month or 1 year. In the last is that evidences are stored and artifacts collected and linked to the decision so that we can see all of this in one place. So when we will do this, we will be having a provable control. At any time, you can show to the auditor or to your company owners or everyone that when, why, and what evidence is supported and everything is available or not with us, that we can show it to anyone. So accountability, this is very important that it turns the data into trust. So once you have the accountability, other people will start trusting you, and they will not just say that you have the dashboard, but what are the basics of the basis of that dashboard. So if we see it as a normal our activities, we can see and correlate it what is happening as of now. So in the previous 2 or 3 slide back, we have discussed that there was one time when the people was trying to discover everything, that how many assets we have, the assessment needs to be done. After that, they start implementing the different kind of like tools, and then they said that okay we need to monitor the network, we need to control everything. So these two parts, the discovery and the monitoring part, that is done previously. Now the main thing or the shift is towards the govern part and the proof part. The govern part means that the risk ownership is there. Someone knows that what is happening, what are the compensatory controls we need to implement. Changes are properly tracked, the policies are properly held or enforced. And then we need to prove all of these things in such a way that whenever anyone asks, we can show him that this is the proof for this activity. Or let's say if we didn't install any patch, why we didn't install it. So we were in the discovery mode, which is completed. We were in the monitoring mode, which is also completed. Now we need to shift towards the govern and the prove mode so that we can say that accountability is there. And this is not something new. If we correlate it with the IEC 62443 or NIST SP 882 or NCA requirements also, we can see that these all things are already available in the framework. And this thing is also aligned with them, that we need to discover, monitor, govern, and prove all the requirements which are with the different controls. If we see asset inventory over here in IC 62443, it is asking for that. If we see in IC 62443, it is asking also for the evidences. Then again in the SP 800, it's also asking the same thing. So discover, monitor, govern, and prove, we need to implement based on any standard which we pick. For example, IC 62443 or even NCA OTCC requirement is there. We need to comply with them. So if we see even in the uh, NCA that we need to have electronic asset inventory, we need the asset owner, we need the asset criticality, we need to know that what are the logs and log trails needs to be completed or available with us. Continuous review is required. Unauthorized device alerts are required. Boundary monitoring is very important. Then automated configuration or asset change detection, that is important. Then there are cybersecurity govern in this is first domain, by the way, of the NCA OTCC, but the policies, procedure, roles and responsibilities, the risk management, the change management procedures and the policies, all those things are also part of the govern that is from the NCA OTCC requirements. So if we see all this, we come to know that it is very important for us to not only take all the evidences or audit report only at that time when the NCA team is coming or the auditor is coming, but also we need to keep the rhythm as is flowing throughout the year, that we are keeping all the evidences and we are keeping all the records of all the changes, and the changes are properly tracked into the system. Who is doing what, that is very very important. Whenever we are going to do any activity, it is very important for us that we change. Before doing that change, we record that what we are going to do, we document that what we are going to do. Once we document that, after that we can get the permission from the management or managers or other stakeholders. Once we have that permission, after that we will go and do the implementation. Once implementation is done, come back to your documentation and update the documentation that it is completed. If there is any change within your implementation, also document that change into the system, so that later on when we need it, we can go to that particular document, and we can see regarding that change that what happened actually and how it happened. There are many cases where users are created on Active Directory, but it is not documented in the system. There is no change for that user. And later on, we come to know that, oh, this user was a temporary user and the user record, there was no user record and no one know that, okay, we need to delete that user and the user, when it will go and expire. So these kind of changes, we need to know that we need to have some system where we can update all these kind of changes. We need to take record of them. Then when we will review them, and then how we will trace them, that who did what and when, that is very important. So if we have these kind of like reviews or internal reviews, it will be very easy for us to keep up with the audit requirements, and there will not be a burden on the security team members that they are doing all the reporting work or activities when the auditor is coming. Before that, I mean, you don't need to do that. So as I told you that it is a shift between your visibility to accountability. Earlier we have seen that we can see the assets, we can see the events and alert, monitoring is there, we can see the vulnerabilities, we can see compliance gaps, reports, everything is there. But now we need to assign owner, one person who is accountable for this system, who can say to anyone that I know about this system, I know about this tool, I know about this change. Everything is documented and I have all the records. So all the actions are recorded. That is very important. The decisions, the approval, due dates are documented. When we need to review, that is also documented. And in the same way, the evidences are collected throughout the year. So means that whenever we are doing any change, that change needs to be documented, and the evidences need to be collected and put into the system so that we can show it to the for example, the auditor, internal auditor or the external auditor, that what is happening and where we need to do and what we need to do. So control is proven. You can demonstrate your compliance anytime. If let's say you are having the evidences collected, it is very important anytime you need to keep your evidences and all the records of your changes into the system. Your accountability is built into daily operation. You don't only chase the audits. So we used to say that make it part of your business as usual. Whatever we are doing, that is as per the actual what our daily life is asking us. Once we do that, we will see that our risk management, audit and records, operational risk, quality assurance, and error cost and complications, they will also contribute and they will also reduce overall, like risks will be reduced and we will be in good position. Building an accountability program is very important. Everything starts with us. We are the people, we are the owners of the system. We need to see that what is happening on our plants. We need to define clearly the owner at every level. The RACI matrix should be there. Accountability in the job roles, training and awareness should be available. According to this program, accountability program, the process and the governance is also very important. The risk management process, the change configuration governance, patch and vulnerability process, exception management, policy and standard enforcement. That is very important that we need to keep all the things available for us regarding any process or any policy into the system. Then we must have the data and the visibility. Asset inventory and classification is very important. So we need to keep our data in any database or any system. We need network and configuration data. We need the vulnerability and the threat data. We need log and events correlation, which is usually happening in the SOC, but we need to keep the record of those. We need to have single source of truth, one system where all the things are available, all the evidences, all the changes, all the tasks, what users, control system engineer or the cybersecurity engineer or your experts, subject matter experts, they are working on, all those things are available in one place, one documentation area. It could be any system where you are documented all the things. So we should have one single source of truth. We have seen in the past that whenever asset inventory is required, people used to say, for example, any IDS, and we have one IDS. In the IDS, we have the asset inventory, and from that IDS, we need to export that. IDS will be having the asset inventory, but is it accurate? What if a new computer comes in? Will you update the IDS first, or you will go and install the computer and wait for, let's say, the IDS to bring that computer using the span port or whatever, and after that to give you the report that okay, one new computer is installed on the system? Why to wait for that? If we have a proper system, in the system we will update all the documents. If that a document are updated, that the new system is in the network, it will be easy for the SOC person to also check that system, that okay, a new computer was added, there is a change for that computer, its IP address and all the configuration details are over there. So it will be easy for us to see that what is happening. And the same system will also record all the evidences. It could be automated or manual also, but you need to keep the evidences available. Retention of change and custody. audit ready reports, mapping to standard, attestations and approvals, all of those needs to be combined in one system. Once we have that, we can create KPIs and KRIs. Then we can create the risk and maturity assessment, that what actually our maturity is. We can see the trends and the analysis, what is happening, which kind of tasks are happening on the network, what are more important, what are the lesson learned, and what are the continuous improvement. We can create a full program with this improvement factor. So the goal is everyone know their responsibility, follow the process and prove the result. That is very important. With that, we need to see that what we can do starting today. There are small actions which we need to do. We need to know our environment, update the asset inventory, map zone conduit, critical assets, establish baselines, and all of those needs to be documented. The ownership, name the asset owner, define responsibilities, set accountability exception, expectations, and then prioritize and act. See what are the assessment related risks, prioritize by impact, mitigate or accept. These are very important. Then evidences collection, all the collection of all the evidences, what happened, how it happened, and we should have these kind of like evidences available, and they should be linked with any decisions, that why we approved this patch or why we didn't approve this patch or why we are going for the countermeasure. Then review and improve based on your KPIs or KRIs and the metrics. We need to review them and then improve them. Conduct maturity assessment. Continuous improvement is very important. We need to see that we are continuously improving. Quick win to start now: verify asset inventory, confirm assigned risks owner, document one key decision with rationale, capture evidences in one control, review one risk and update the status. Do this and you will start looking into the multiple documents and you will see that this whole process is creating one full chain of decisions and what happened actually on the plant side. So real world outcome of accountability will be that, first of all, the reduced risks will be there. How we will start? We will start with the documentation. Once we start with the documentation, so if everything is document, for example, if there is, we are going to change any or create any user, the username, when it will expire, who it belong to, who is that person, which department, is this contract or the permanent employee, all of those changes or all of those things are documented into the system. So with that, we know that which user we are creating, when it's going to expire, when we need to review, or other aspect of that user, that is documented. Once it's approved with any person, with your manager or the HR or any other person, then the system is there. So later on, if anyone needs to see, for example, the SOC person, he needs to see that who is this user, who created the user, what were the documents, all of those are recorded. It will be easy for them to trace that what happened into the system, who created this user, if let's say something happened with the user account. Audit confidence. It is very important that evidences are ready when you need it, at that particular time. Faster audit cycles are very important. More and more audits will create more and more stress on the on the cybersecurity team also, or the operations team also, to maintain the cybersecurity level which they need. That is very important. If we have fewer findings and we have the re-audits, it means when in the last, let's say NCA comes, we will find more or less findings in that audit also. And it will obviously give us the confidence. Then obviously it will give us the operational resilience. There will be less chance that we are going to disturb the plant, we are going to change anything, or the uptime will not be up to the mark. So our operational resilience will also increase. It will be easy and it will be good decision making for us if we document everything, all the data, and the clear ownership drive makes and give us the smarter decisions. Then it will be cost effective, that proactive management, and will reduce the prices, fewer compliance penalties, lower incident response cost. Then the leadership trust, that is also very important, that your leaders can see and trust, and they can act on what is real, actually what is happening on the system on the plant side. So we have all the proofs and real data available instead of just fancy dashboards which are available and telling us that how many assets we have. We can see and show that how many, for example, changes we conducted, how many changes were approved, how many changes were not approved, or non-compliance activities were recorded through the audits. Those will give them the clear picture that what is happening on the system side or the control system side. And stronger the trust across the organization will be available for us. In summary, we will have a stronger security, audit ready anytime, resilience operation, lower cost, and leadership confidence. So this is very important for us to keep the accountability up and running throughout the year and see that how it can go. With that, it's